Well, we had a bit of a stinker last night, didn't we? I know everyone's just going to say it's just pre-season, it's just a friendly. Nah, I'm not having that. I'm not having it. There is never a friendly against Manchester United. There's no chance. No way. And it felt like one team showed up and treated it more than a friendly, and that was the team in red. Manchester United were very impressive yesterday or last night. Way more aggressive, throwing challenges in that maybe some of them. This picture here was when Martinez went flying in on Saka. It was a little bit naughty. I feel like Arteta would have wanted Arsenal to treat it like an important game, but it just didn't. It didn't feel like it. I was impressed with our first 20 minutes, and I want to make it very clear I'm not taking anything away from United's win, talking positively about Arsenal, but in those first 20 minutes, we looked quite comfortable on the ball. We conceded a few chances, and United might have scored. But, for example, the Martinelli chance that was missed, if that's 1-0, I think we cruise. I think we do actually cruise into the rest of the game and maybe get a second goal. I think United would have scored anyway. They were really well set up by Ten Hag to hit us on the break. The pace they had was pretty frightening, to be honest. And they pounced on mistakes. I thought Ramsdale had a really rocky moment. The goal that he conceded is just simply not good enough. And thankfully, it's happened in a pre-season game. And he's getting slated for it in the Arsenal community a little bit. And I think it's fair. It's a poor attempt to save it, isn't it? That goes down as a mistake. It's an error leading to a goal, whatever. 1-0. And then, of course, Gabriel misses the ball completely. And then Sancho bursts through and makes it 2-0. And it's very difficult to come back from that because United could sit. They could be a bit more comfortable on the ball. And like I said, they were very well set up. There was one youngster that played, Mainu, is it? I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but I was really impressed with him. I thought he did very well in what was a very competitive midfield. If you think we had Ødegaard, Havertz and Rice, I'll talk about that in a minute, especially with Havertz being in that number 8 role. But I was really impressed with this youngster, and I think United fans should be quite excited about a player like that coming through. I don't know if he'll get many minutes next season in the first team. Who knows? Maybe he'll get a loan, but he was impressive. One thing I will say, though, is I was disappointed that we didn't make more changes at half-time. We made one sub at half-time. I think Tomiyasu came off, who I thought was doing all right, to be honest. Maybe it was a fitness thing. But United basically changed their entire team. And it was almost a little bit embarrassing seeing them come out with all of these substitutions. And we were there still with arguably our first team. But of course, we then started to make changes. I think in general, seeing this youngster play so well, and I'm sitting there watching thinking, why can't we bring on Nwaneri, who was left at home? He's now on this big youth deal. Why can't we see Kozia Dubry and some of the other youngsters that we only took one? We could have taken a few more, I think, at the expense of other players like Runarsson. It kind of sucks that we weren't able to see some more youngsters play. But I get it. It's fine. Arteta clearly has a very clear plan for the season, and he wants to hit the ground running. But we massively failed last night, and the system wasn't right against such a heavy counter-attacking team that on the transition are lethal. The pace they had with Anthony down the right, whether it was Garnacho, Sancho, whoever, and obviously we made mistakes and we paid for them. And I'm very grateful it is pre-season because, yes, ultimately it doesn't matter. The result doesn't matter too much because it isn't for a competition or whatever. But the mental feeling that the players are going to have after this, it sucks. We don't want to be losing to Manchester United. And they got the better of us. I thought Ten Hag set them up really well last night. But I just feel like, if we put away a couple of our chances, it would have been a very, very different game. And if we didn't make those silly mistakes. A couple of other things I want to talk about. Timber, again, really impressed me. We set up with the usual 4-3-3, but of course, in possession, it shifts to a back three. We have players like Timber, Zinchenko, Tomiyasu, Ben White. They can play the inverted roles. I don't know if you can hear that. That's my dog, Tilly, trying to scratch my door to get in. I'm busy. But Timber, really impressed with his first few appearances. Really, really good player, technically gifted, and of course, able to tuck into that midfield role. And I think he's going to really excel at that. I personally think he should be starting in the season. I think he should be playing ahead of Ben White at the start. And obviously we can rotate them. But yeah, really impressed with Timber so far. And Sancho as well. He took his goal really well. I think he's had a tough start to life at United, and I think this is a big season for him, but he took that goal so well. And as I said, I want to give United full credit. They've turned up to what is a pre-season friendly with a much tougher attitude of getting that result, because pre-season is all about fitness, but it's also about getting ready for what's to come. It's an unbelievably high-pressured season coming up. We've got so many teams improving. We've got Man City having won the treble, Arsenal having a season that no one expected, Chelsea falling down to 12th. It's not going to be an easy season for anyone. And it looked like only one team really showed up to compete, which is a real shame, because that was a great opportunity last night to keep our strong run going. And, you know, pre-season is important. It is. But you do just have to remember, you have to just take a step back. It is just a pre-season game after all. We're not going to remember this during the season if we've beaten Manchester United at Old Trafford in the Premier League 2-1. No one's going to go, oh, but we lost to you. We beat you in pre-season. Like, United fans probably won't be saying that, because they know we would just come back saying, well, what, when it didn't matter? That is the reality. Okay, but we do need to talk about some other things. One of my problems yesterday was Havertz in this Granit Xhaka number 8 role. We really missed Granit Xhaka last night. You could clearly see that Havertz is adapting. Excuse me. I think Havertz is a bit of a luxury player if you're throwing him into that position. Okay, for me, Havertz can play as a number 8, but I don't think you do it against a team like United, a team like City, Liverpool, high-pressing teams, Brighton. I wouldn't risk that, because you're then asking Rice to do what Kante did for Leicester when they won the Premier League. You remember when Leicester were playing that 4-4-2, and Kante was effectively playing 2 positions. It was incredible, and I don't think Declan Rice can quite do that. I think Declan Rice has the ability to be an incredible defensive midfielder, but I also believe if Partey was to play in this role again, Rice could easily fill in this position where Havertz was last night and ghosted, to be fair. I didn't see much of Havertz at all. I think Arteta experimented and it backfired. Playing Havertz and Ødegaard, I think it's only going to be possible in one of those home games against relegation favourites, mid-table teams that don't really press you, because we'll have the ball a lot. We'll have that creative freedom, the space. When you're getting strangled by a team like United that play tight and get on you and press you, I just don't think you can have a player like Havertz play alongside Ødegaard in a similar position. I thought Nketiah was really poor as well. I don't know how he made it into the second half. It is frustrating, and I know for a fact that against Barcelona, I think we've got next, we're not going to see Nketiah start. It's going to be Balogun, it's going to be Jesus, whoever. It might even be Havertz playing up front. Who knows what Arteta's going to do? But Nketiah had a big chance to show that he is still ahead of Balogun. He still deserves to be at this club, but I just don't see it, guys. I really like Nketiah as almost a super sub type player. He can come on and nick a goal, and he's a great player. There's no doubt about it. He's got ability, but he just gets drowned out in these matches where that quality just isn't there. We would have been better starting Havertz as a number 9. I genuinely believe that, and I don't think he is a number 9. So I was disappointed with that. Martinelli, as I said, should have scored 100%. I thought he had a relatively quiet game. Saka had some decent moments. I think Timber was one of our best players. Saliba, again, solid, but couldn't bail Gabriel out of that mistake he made. And again, I want to say Tomiyasu was brilliant. I really liked his cameo down the left side. I'm sure he was taken off as a precaution, a bit more of a fitness thing because he's been out injured. But I thought he was really dominant down that left side. And the fact that he is so two-footed, that he's comfortable using his right and his left in any situation, I think he's going to be a very important player for us this season when we do eventually get the typical injuries that we always do. But yeah, this 4-3-3 shifting into a 3 at the back when we have possession didn't work last night with the selection. But again, it is pre-season. The the players aren't fully fit, fully ready to go, and it didn't work out for whatever reason. Let's talk about some of the players that came on. Kieran Tierney, I thought, was actually pretty good. He was popping up in midfield like Zinchenko does, and I think he could definitely do okay in that role. I just don't see him ever being ahead of Zinchenko in this system. Jesus was okay when he came on. I don't think he did too much. I thought Thomas Partey was very good when he came on. I mean, there's no surprise that despite the fact United changed their entire lineup pretty much at half-time, but when Thomas Partey came on, we did look a bit more solid in midfield, and I'm really hoping against Barcelona that, let's face it, have a very strong way of playing in midfield and keeping the ball. I think having Thomas Partey and Declan Rice would be really nice, and then having Ødegaard slightly further forward. Ben White was okay. Trossard, I'm glad he's not injured. He was okay when he came on as well. I thought Smith Rowe looked pretty sharp as well after his under-21s European success. Big season for him, of course. Jorginho came on and did all right, but we've got to talk about Fabio Vieira. Fabio Vieira. I don't know, man. I want to say, with time and with more minutes, that he would be a really good player for us. But I think he's already so far down the pecking order. Havertz has come in as well, and he's too weak. His penalty was shocking. He ghosts. You don't see him. He's had one or two performances I can actually remember. Brentford was, I thought, a pretty good performance from Vieira. Of course, he got that goal. But that's the only real proper standout performance that I think he's had in an Arsenal shirt. And that's worrying because we invested a decent amount. What was it, 35 million euros? Something like that. There is a player in there. And I just think maybe a loan would be great for him. But at 23, I feel like the quality would have been shining through a little bit more by now. I don't think he's going to cut it, if I'm being honest. He's putting in 5s and 6s when he does play. It's just, I don't know, guys. It's a tough one. I think the Havertz experiment, like I said, it's good that we've seen that, and we know that maybe against teams like United, that just isn't a luxury we can afford. Having two attacking-minded players, he's not going to have the defensive ability to do what Xhaka did last season, where he's able to do a bit of everything. I think we should see Declan Rice in that position, or maybe even Smith Rowe, or maybe Zinchenko can move into central midfield if we're using Tierney. Just there's quite a lot of options because we do have such a versatile squad. But United deserve to win the game. They were the better team last night, and that is annoying. It's just annoying. I'm glad it means nothing. And I hope Ramsdale isn't too wobbled by this because it was a bad mistake. It's not good to see that, but he's done it in the right time in pre-season. He's hopefully not going to have that happen again this season when it comes to the big games. But lots to look forward to with this team. Nothing bad has happened, really. We've lost a game of football in pre-season. We've clearly experimented and done something that maybe isn't going to work for us. But like Arteta said, it is just a couple of weeks in. When Havertz, Ødegaard, Rice gel a little bit more, maybe that midfield three would work. But I've got to say, on paper, it might work, but the eye test failed. It didn't look right. So I don't think we should be going into the season doing that. And I think if something isn't broken, maybe don't try too much to fix it. We've lost Granit Xhaka, so just replace Granit Xhaka. Let's try Rice in that number 8 role. Let him carry the ball forward. Let him pop up on the edge of the box. And also, let him get stuck in as well. And I think, ultimately, that's where we're going to go. I think we're going to be starting the season with Partey in the holding role and Rice to the left, Ødegaard to the right. That midfield three. That's, I think, where I want it to go. We'll see what happens against Barcelona. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.